Good evening, all. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the evening of Sunday, the 3rd of November. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and know how to achieve trading signals. Right, okay, last week we had obviously a decent looking decline, and we saw a back test of the new weekly pivot and what was already the new monthly pivot on Friday, and some rejection there. I did a post on Friday, and I'm going to be doing another one tomorrow, looking at the potential reversal patterns here. But here on SPX and ES, we're looking at a potential head and shoulders forming, and so far it's a pretty nice one. Now, we could see a fail at the monthly pivot, weekly pivot double resistance, which is at 57.9450 to 57.9650. Or we could go a little higher to the ideal right shoulder high, which would be in about the 58.30 area. So we will see how that goes. All right, let's have a look at NQ, where we could be forming potentially another head and shoulders, but actually we've already got a pretty good nice looking double top, which is starting to break down. That looks like a flag on forming on Friday, and that has targets below in the 19,350 area to the 19,450 area. Looking at RTY, we've got a very nice looking double top here, and we came pretty close to breaking down, but it hasn't broken down yet. If it does break down, this will have target area down here at about the 2075 area, and that actually could be testing the support on a potential larger double top. So we've got a potential nested double top set up here that potentially carries a long way, but I am doubtful. Let's have a look at YM. YM, nice looking falling wedge here, which could be a bull flag still, but we will see. Again, we could be forming a head and shoulders here. Ideal right shoulder high would be in about the 43,000 area. On DAX, we had a buy signal on Friday morning, which made target, and could we be forming head and shoulders here? Yes, potentially. The ideal right shoulder high there would be in about the 19,650 area, but I'd be a little surprised to see that. I think this actually makes more sense as a potential double top. So that double top support would be in about the 19,050 area. Looking at ESTX, this still looks like a bull flag forming. Doesn't necessarily mean that it is, but I'm not seeing an obvious reversal pattern here. And there's no obvious possible head and shoulders forming here either. We shall see. We do have a potential level top here with support in the 4750 area, and if we see a break below that next week, I'll draw in the potential targets, which would be a considerable distance down here. So we shall see. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Looking at ES, obviously we'd already made the daily RSI 5 sell signal, and on SPX with the move down last week, we also made that on SPX, and we made it on SPY. If we see a retest of this low and then a reversal back up, we could form a possible daily RSI 5 buy signal. Obviously, the huge news and the elephant in the room next week is the presidential election on Tuesday and how that's going to affect the markets. Hard to say how that develops. Obviously, if there's a lot of disruption after the election and it's contested, and people start getting violent, that's not going to be good for the market. We will see how that goes. In the meantime, we've reached a possible head and shoulder neckline. But one thing I was mentioning in my post on Friday, which would be well worth a look if you haven't seen it yet, was that obviously we've got fairly compressed Bollinger Bands here, and the middle Bollinger Band is only just starting to break down. What I was saying was that in general terms, I would normally expect to see a little more time under the daily middle band to allow that to turn down for the bands to start to expand, because where we found the low on Thursday was only actually about 50 or less. How many what was that? About 25 handles above the 3SD upper band, lower band. That is that tends to be an area which is pretty hard to support. So unless, I really would expect to see at least a bit more consolidation. And if we're forming a right shoulder, then actually the right shoulder we need a little more time for that. So I'd expect another 2 or 3 days for that to form at least. Looking at the shorter picture charts, RSI 14 buy signal is fixed and hasn't made target yet. Head and Shoulders doesn't look quite as nice here as it does on ES, but it's still pretty decent. Ideal right shoulder high was actually reached on SPX on Friday. But it would be a good thing if it got a little more time to form. Nothing on the hourly chart. Looking at the Qs, nice looking double top here. It would have been even better if we'd gone back and retested the high, but we've got a small double top here which is broken down, targeting about the 470 area, and we will see. This is part of potentially a larger double top, but as I said, that would have been improved, or would be improved yet, could be improved yet by a retest of this high. Looking at the 15-minute chart, no current divergence, and we are breaking down slightly from this rather nice looking double top, but obviously we haven't followed through to the downside yet. Looking at Dia, we'd long since made the RSI 5 sell signal target. We had the opportunity to set up some positive divergence here and didn't. We've been holding underneath the daily middle band for a while, and there's no reason to think that is about to end. In terms of the 15-minute chart, we've broken slightly over this declining resistance. Could be bottoming out here, but I'm thinking more that we're forming a head and shoulders. This would be a nice looking example, and the ideal right shoulder high would be in the 426 area. All right, let's have a look at IWM. And on IWM, we've got, obviously we saw a fairly hard break below the daily middle band, but because this has been weaker for longer, the bands haven't compressed as much. The middle band is already turning down, and as a result, we didn't actually reach the daily lower band, even though this was weaker than SPX and NDX to start off with. That does give us more potential space to the downside. On the 15-minute chart, looks like it needs a rally. We're not forming a right shoulder here. This is a straight up potential double top. And if we see a sustained break below 214.60, then this would have a target basically at a retest this low here at 203.52. Looking at DAX, DAX, nice move down, tested the 2SD lower band, nice rally which has taken us back up towards the daily middle band. Could this be a head and shoulders forming here? No, this is another nice looking double top with support in about the 18,950 area. Looking at Nikkei, again, saw some weakness. We've been tracking up through the daily middle band and then down again. Overall, this has been heading sideways. Is there an obvious pattern here? Yes, we could be forming a head and shoulders here, and actually that could be almost formed. This would be the left shoulder, this would be the head, this would be the right shoulder, and if we see a sustained breakdown below about 37.5k area, then we would be looking at a target at about the 34.5 to 35,000 area, which would be down here. I'm thinking that could deliver. Certainly we have a fair number of potential topping patterns here, and we've certainly got a source of plenty of disruption potentially in terms of the election. So we will see. All right, great. Let's have a look at the CL chart. Okay, looking at CL. Broke over this wedge resistance, doesn't necessarily need to go an awful long way. We've got a nice looking potential level bottom here in about the 72.50 area, but really on the bigger picture, we've still got a triangle targeted retest of 63.5, and we've not been getting an awfully long way away from it. I'm still thinking we're probably going to hit that target. On NG, this has continued lower. We actually had, on the roll, we had our uplift of 50 cents, and basically it's given that 50 cents back. Nothing compelling saying this is about to turn back up. We've got a 60-minute buy signal here, and if we didn't already have one, another one would be brewing here. But this has been fairly firmly pointed to the downside so far. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts and on CL. CL, not really an awful lot to see on the CL chart directly. Here we've got the triangle, it's broken down, back tested, but it's not broken back over to triangle resistance, which I've got currently at about the 80.3 area. And it's got a target back at a retest of this 63.7. In terms of natural gas, no current divergence. We've been seeing a significant amount of downside, and you can see here on the triangle, we'd seen the rally, which took us over triangle resistance when the contract rolled into November. But since then, we've basically given most of that back. We're testing the daily middle band. If we can get back below it, then potentially, well, I'd be redrawing this triangle, but potentially we are still in that triangle with a low here at 310, which was below this low here at 316. Would the triangle be as nice? No. Am I still thinking it would make a lot of sense to go back and retest this low over the next few months? Yes. So we shall see. We do have one more roll, which is likely to add 30 cents in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So we will see whether it survives that. After that, the price actually trends down a bit into a low in April. And if we're going to retest this low, I expect it to be in that period. All right, let's have a look at gold. Gold. I'm getting some daily sell signals here, but in the short term, I'm watching the monthly pivot area, which is also a potential head and shoulder neckline in the 27-23 area. On the silver chart, still could be a bull flag, but I got to say we're breaking a little low, and I'm wondering about. We could even make this head and shoulder target, but the head and shoulders failed. I'm really leaning fairly strongly towards seeing a bull flag here, but we'll see how that goes. On copper, this has basically done nothing for days. I'm trapped in a very narrow range, and I've been leaning towards seeing a retest this low to make the second low a possible level bottom. We haven't seen that yet. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. And on GC, we've got a daily RSI 5 sell signal fixed and on the GC chart, and we've got another one on the index as well. Sorry, I haven't marked that in on this one, but we've got, we're still somewhere above the daily middle band, but if we go back there to test that as support, I've got that in the 27.15 area. I'm quite liking that. We will see how it goes, but I don't have an obvious short-term reversal pattern to get at that. Looking at silver, silver, no current divergence. We didn't retest this high, so we couldn't have any RSI divergence. I'm watching this test of this rising support trend line, which I've got at about 32.25 area. Looking at the index charts, definitely some scope to go lower, but on the bigger picture, I'm looking at this trend line now as the next obvious target, and I've got that in about 37.75 area at the moment. It's a really nice trend line, and we've got pretty close to it. I think we're likely to hit that within weeks. All right, looking at palladium. Palladium, we've seen a steep retracement, but I think it's still leaning towards that being a bullish retracement. No current divergence on platinum. Again, a steep reversal, but still looks like we're likely to see higher. We haven't quite reached the obvious target area here, which I've got in about the 107.3 to 108.1 area. Looking at copper. Copper, weak RSI 5 buy signal fixed and is making headway towards the target as it basically trades sideways. We're now testing the daily middle band. Seriously, if we get back over that, then I'm thinking we've got some considerable scope to the upside. Looking at the index chart, this has been a sideways consolidation and it's compressing. It's likely to make a significant move one way or the other. You can see the Bollinger Bands pinching. My lean would be that move would probably be up, but obviously if it goes the other way, it would be down. GDX, I'm still wondering about a test of this rising support here, which I've got in about the 37 area. On GDXJ, not as compelling to see the test of the rising support because we didn't actually hit an obvious resistance trend line, but I would draw one in that would be confirmed if we do hit this rising support. So I'm going to be watching that, and I've got that currently in about the 45.5 area. All right, let's have a look at the dollar. All right, the dollar. We've had a little double top breakdown here, and at the moment it looks as though that's rejecting back to the high. That fits what I've been thinking here because I've really been thinking that it's not quite made the target. And on what that target is, you can't really see it on this chart on the DX, although you can see that we've got an RSI 14 and an RSI 5 sell signal fixed, which is quite a lot of sell signal. But on the USD index chart, you can see I drew this trend line in, and I said it was a very nice trend line. And trend lines like this usually had a corresponding target, a corresponding trend line that would be, the two sides of the pattern. So I drew that in, and we've almost made it, but not quite. I'm thinking we're probably going to need to see a test of that, and then we see the reversal. Do we have a lot of signals suggesting reversal here? Yeah, we do. We've got sell signals on on the dollar. On euro, we've got an RSI 14 buy signal fixed on the daily, and the RSI 5 buy signal has already made target. We've got an RSI 5 buy signal fixed on the GBP USD. Nothing currently on Australian dollar, but we've got an possible RSI 5 buy signal bring on NZ. Looking at the downside of looking at the ones which actually correlate directly with the dollar rather than inversely. USD JPY, that is RSI 14 and RSI 5 sell signals. Nothing on CAD at the moment apart from a possible RSI 5 sell signal bring. But this is an awful lot of currency pairs suggesting that the dollar is about to turn. And if it can go back and test this trend line here, which is what it's not managed to make so far, with a retest of 104.5, then I would be very happy to see that, and that would be a very good place to see that turn. As in the meantime, we've just come back and tested the daily middle band. If we're going to see a retest, this would be a very good time to do it. All right, looking at ZB. ZB, we've got continuation down. We had a nice little setup for a rally here. It didn't really go anywhere, and we've continued down, which is pretty much as expected. Looking at the TNX chart. TNX, hang on, that's 15 minutes. On the hourly chart, no current divergence. We had a little breakdown from this wedge, and we've made a higher high. I am wondering whether if it goes much higher, I'm just going to redraw this support trend line through, but we could be finding resistance up at this trend line here in the 43.75 area. I would note that we are now reaching the first of these this double bottom target here at 43.75. The extended target is in the 44.5 area. Looking at the daily charts, we had some negative divergence on the daily RSI 14, and we lost it. And we've still got some on the daily RSI 5. We'll see how that goes, but we could lose that too. Is there an obvious trendline target to go to? Yes, I've got this one here in about the 44.8 area, and this could be bull flag resistance. Does it seem credible that with interest rates falling and inflation right down, that we actually go back and retest this high here at 49.97? I'm struggling with it a bit, but have I seen stranger things happen? Yeah, regularly. Can it do it? Yes. Would it set up a beautiful level top potentially if it did do it? Yes, it would. I'd love to see that retested. I'm just a little doubtful about making it. We've already got from 36 to 44. It's not a huge stroke to go back up to 50. We're already over halfway there. We'll see how that goes. But if we see a sustained break up over 45, then at that stage, we've got a bull flag breaking up with a target at a retest of the high. And I would be respecting that. All right, let's have a look at the other commodities. Okay, KC, this could be a bull flag forming, but I think it's just now too large. Could this be a head and shoulders forming? Yes. More to say about this on the daily chart. Looking at sugar, this is a bull flag, which we've been watching for a while. It's broken up and it's got to retest this high here in the 23.50 area. I'm still expecting that to make target. On CC, this is consolidating a bit. We've got a potential little level top here, watching double support here at the weekly pivot and monthly pivot in the 6710 to 6740 area. But really, I'm leaning towards, even though we've made the inverted head and shoulder target, I'm leaning towards seeing a retest this high here in the 7300 area and change, 7320 maybe. Looking at the CT chart, could this be a bull flag? Nope, it's too large. This could be a double bottom, but actually that's kind of too large too. Keeping an open mind, we'll see. Looking at wheat. Wheat, I'm wondering if we might turn up, but it's not really because of anything on the wheat chart. But this could be an inverted head and shoulders forming. On corn, little double bottom, which is trying to break up. That could have a target up in about the 420 area. But the main thing I'm watching here is soy. Soy, we had this very nice bear flag channel. It broke down, retested the low. We've now got a very nice looking potential level bottom, and we've got resistance up here in about the monthly pivot area at 108.50. So it's a great level for it. I love it when my resistance levels turn out to be pivots. If we see a sustained break up back over 1018, then we could see a move back up, which could take us back up into about the 1060 area. I would love to see that move. And I think it's overdue, so we'll see. Looking at lumber, We had a long flag, it broke up, we have gone higher, and I'm not seeing any obvious reason to think this is about to reverse. On live cattle, we've got a double top here which is trying to break down. Is it going to succeed? We'll see. I'm a little doubtful about it making target. I'd prefer to see a rejection higher. If so, we've got strong resistance in the 186.75 area, and we will see whether that holds. If it rejects back down and starts making lower lows, then I would be taking this topping target seriously in about the 182 to 180.5 area. Looking at lean hogs, potential level top here. We got a 6-minute sell signal fixed. Thinking we might see a bit of a retracement. Not really seeing much of a case for a larger retracement, but we will see. All right, let's have a look at. Hang on a second. Let's have a look at the other commodities. All right, KC. I'm wondering about this as a potential head and shoulders forming, but it doesn't really look like one. If we're going to form a head and shoulders, I'd rather see it come down to about the 2350 area and then do a right shoulder and then go down. Could it head down from here? Yes. We've got a nice resistance trend line. We've broken the support trend line. Yeah, we could top out and do a decent retracement here. We will see. Looking at sugar, bull flag, trying to break up, could be rejecting. I mean, look at this rather nice looking engulfing bearish candle here. But if it does reject, normally what this would mean is we would just form a larger flag. This was the first attempt to break up. Maybe make a lower low here, form a larger flag, and then we go back up and retest the high. That's the way it would usually run. On cocoa, we've got a possible very weak RSI 5 sell signal brewing, and I drew in this triangle a while ago, which is I drew it when we were about here. So this is actually performing pretty well. So I'm going to be watching the 7200 area if we get that. And if we find resistance there, then this may well be an overall triangle. On wheat, this could be an inverted head and shoulders here. Right shoulder's a little low and a little extended, but nonetheless, it's still pretty decent quality. If we see a sustained breakup over about the 619 area, this would have a target in about the 710 area. So we will see. On corn, corn kind of looks like a triangle forming at the moment. Could break either way, but my normal lean for this would actually be to the downside. We will see. On soy, we've got a possible weak RSI 14 buy signal brewing, possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing. This is nice. It's a very nice looking potential lower bottom. It's a nice looking pattern setup. I'm thinking we might make a significant low here. Would it be slightly improved if we went down and retested this low fully at 973.40? Yeah, it would be a bit improved. I'm still wondering if we might do that. This is a nice bottoming setup and would be a great place to see grains generally reverse back up. On cotton, is this a reversal pattern forming? No, obviously no. Possibly an IHS, but it's really not the greatest quality, but maybe. If we see a hard break up, then potentially we could break up over the 74.5 area and that could get us back over 80. Otherwise, I'm seriously starting to wonder about a retest of this low. We will see how that goes. All right, great. In that case, that is everything. So I'll have this posted ASAP and I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning.